everything golden. Finding your greatest love, your highest adventures, the joy that brings you into the paradise life that you've always wanted to be living. It all starts with you and going deep inside. Everything golden. Featuring Francesca Rose and David Starr, where miracles come true every episode. Here are your hosts. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Welcome to Everything Golden with your host, David Starr and
Francesca Rose.
Brought to you by Divine Ray, your higher consciousness network, francescarose.com. Find your Omni Goddess today. And today we have a very special guest, a transpersonal psychologist, a clinical hypnotherapist, an urban mystic whose life story is nothing short but pure alchemy. And it's very exciting to introduce you, Dr. Anemona Peres, who had a profound spiritual awakening in her 40s that led her to completely redirect her life. And we would love nothing more than Anemona herself to share this amazing story. Welcome, Anemona.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be with you, Francesca and David. Amazing, amazing spiritual teachers. And I guess humanity owes you a lot in terms of our ascension times. And I wonder in how many lifetimes we have met before, but we probably never had this kind of technology like we have now.
No, this is our most advanced technology lifetime for sure.
Yeah.
Just kidding. And we're still trying to figure it out. But yeah, welcome to the show. It's truly an honor to for you to be here. I mean, we're friends, collaboratives, and we're all here with an amazing purpose. You have amazing teams and an amazing story, and we would love to hear about it.
Thank you. Well, right now, one of the priorities of my work is to help people step into their purpose. And actually, one of my programs, it's called Step Into Your Purpose. And it's addressed, well, generally to healers and therapists, but overall to anyone who feels that there must be more to life than what they're just living right now. And that was me, maybe. So I'm actually addressing this program to an earlier version of me, to someone who I used to be maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago or more. And I was so over-invested in my work, and my work was everything to me. And I put passion and hours and studies. And last year I went to a UK hypnosis convention because I'm a hypnotherapist as well as amongst many other things. And I introduced myself and I said, I'm Dr. Anemona Peres, and my PhD was a trauma response. Because that's how we start in life. We chose, our soul chose certain experiences that were challenging, but this is what prepared us to be the healers that we are now. This is what channeled us into a roadmap that led us to where we are today. And if we look back now at everything that we've been through, it's like, yep, it makes sense. Now I know why I had to go through all that. And in a way, my trauma defense mechanism, if you want, was to study and to involve myself, to over-involve myself in my work. And I worked I was a psychologist for the Romanian Border Police, so an officer, and then I worked for the EU Agency for Borders, so supranational level, also as a psychologist and training manager, and dealt a lot with, again, trauma and training police and leadership and so on and so forth. And although I had many achievements and I had a life that someone like me, coming from Romania, from a country that is economically challenged, still could only dream of or would not even dare to dream of. And yet I find myself in my 40s during pandemics. God praise pandemics. I mean, it was the greatest thing that happened to me because it really made me reflect and realize that I don't want to live the rest of my life the same. again, I had a very comfortable life from the outside. I had it all. I had the qualifications, I had the title, I had the social status, I had the money, and I was empty. And that came after 20 years of my personal psychotherapy. I've always dreamt to be a psychotherapist, well, a healer, really. And I studied all my life alongside my job. I studied many different modalities in psychotherapy. And something still didn't click. I didn't feel like this is the way. I knew there must be a better way. And I didn't really know what is that. And because I grew up in a communist country, religion or spirituality, these were very abstract things. I never knew what to believe, although I always had a very strong sense that there is a higher power. And by the way, that's the name of your brilliant book, Your Higher
Yeah.
Power. So I always had a sense that must be there, but I just didn't feel worthy of any sort of them looking down at me or, handing a helping hand. And I actually had a very interesting experience during pandemics. I ordered a very expensive tuna, sashimi quality tuna. It was brought from Maldives, and I made myself a steak, and I was very happy eating the steak. And suddenly, I got an anaphylactic shock. So I was all swollen, like incredible. I went to the bathroom when I saw my face. My head was double. The whites of my eyes were green, and my whole body was itchy. I started to hyperventilate. My heart was beating really, really fast, and I couldn't breathe because everything was swollen on the inside. And funnily enough, I shared that tuna with a friend who is a doctor, and we both shared that tuna. I ate the first night and I got into an anaphylactic shock. He said, no, 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 you had COVID. You have to just go to the hospital right now, immediately. I knew it's not COVID. And but I was so sick that I wanted to put my shoes on and go to a pharmacy and get an antihistaminic or something. I just couldn't. So I thought, okay, I've done all this work. I've done all this therapy. I'm now the most healed version of myself that I can be. I almost live a life of my dreams. And now I'm going to die like an idiot because I didn't know that it was a tuna, but like in an anaphylactic shock, and I can't go out in the middle of the winter, and it was 8 p.m. at night. And I didn't know what else to do than to like sit on my couch, sit up in a lotus position. And the only guide that I knew at that time was Yeshua. And I used to meditate with golden light. So just as you do. And then we developed many different ways of doing that. So I was like, that's it. I have no chance. So I just closed my eyes and I started to imagine breathing golden light and having golden light from source, clearing my whole body. And I asked Yeshua, the only one I knew, please heal me. Please, please let this light clear my body of whatever this is. And I was regulating my breath. I fell asleep, and at 2 a.m. I woke up. No allergy, no rush. I was absolutely clean, breathing normally. So imagine I slept like sitting up. I fell asleep. They put me to sleep, obviously, to work on me. And next day I called my friend. Um, my friend had my friend, a doctor, a young, healthy man, doctor himself. He had the same anaphylactic shock. He was taken to the hospital where he worked. He was working at the time. He was 3 days and 3 nights on IV, and they thought he's gonna die. So nobody would believe the story, or people would imagine, oh, maybe you were just scared, but maybe it wasn't that bad because it can't just go away like this just because you're starting to imagine golden light clearing your cells and asking some avatars that, people don't know what's all that about. So this was a very, very powerful awakening experience. I have others with Mary Magdalene who healed my PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Again, I didn't even know who she is and who's this woman that shows up in my vision. So besides this, and besides my continuous search for something higher than just, something more meaningful than just pay the bills and go to work and that's it. Um, I also realized at that point that, oh, I actually can be a healer, but it's just not the way I imagined. It's not the psychology degree, it's not the psychotherapy, it's not the PhD, it's not all those things. I mean, of course, those things brought a lot of knowledge and a lot of networking and people and perspectives. But what made the difference and what enabled me to be the healer that I am and really to live the life of my dreams and to step into my purpose was the point when I realized I have a connection, a very powerful connection with a higher powers. And I'm just a channel, I'm just a conduit for the healing to happen through me. And we think, as psychotherapists, psychologists, we think it's our knowledge and it's our skills and it's the fancy techniques that we use. And we have all those qualifications and all that. And it's not that, people. And that's what I'm telling also people that I'm working with, the healers that I'm working with, many of them who they have a spiritual side, but they feel embarrassed or awkward to show up with their spiritual belief, to show up with their spirit guidance, with their awareness of how guided they are when they help people heal. And I made it my mission to help them get out of the spiritual closet, as I call it, because it's only when you show up in your integrity, in your full identity, who you truly are as a healer. And that's why I say I'm a mystic. I'm an urban mystic. My work is now mostly shamanism and transpersonal hypnotherapy, which really means connecting to all that is, and not just relying on my human knowledge and techniques that are very limited. So,
One of the things I just wanted to mention, because there's so much happening here. As you were actually talking about that moment in one of your awakenings where you had nothing else to do, or you but you believed in this higher power. You called in Yeshua as you're connecting into the golden light and breathing it through you. I see this light flash above my camera in front of me, and it is Yeshua. And he's saying, "Yes, David, I was there." And he was also saying that Anemona has great faith, and she called it in. And it's important um, for everybody to realize that they too can access this. Nobody is cut off from it, but if you believe that you're unworthy, and or if you believe that you have this disconnection, you actually end up creating the block from the connection and maybe not want to open up, maybe not want to breathe in the golden light or call on somebody like Yeshua or the angels or other beings who can heal. And so he just wanted to remind everybody and confirm first that yes, he was there. He did heal Anemona, and Anemona called him in, and she had great faith. And so this is a great lesson for anybody. You don't have to wait until you are on your deathbed to have a spiritual awakening. You can call them in. You can breathe in the golden light. You can connect and step into that path like Anemona's course and begin this journey intentionally by asking for it, believing in your divinity and the divinity that exists within and outside of you. And I just felt that this was an important confirmation for you as well as everybody who's listening, because it's very rare that Yeshua ever just shows up and flashes his light. It maybe happens to me, um, I don't know, 4 times a year. It's not often, and so it's a special
Oh,
time. Yeah.
so
I can
cool.
feel it. I'm all goosebumps and like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I can feel it. And this is so significant, especially for those who have a healer calling. They know. They might be, housewives or administrators or IT people or a salesperson in a shop, but they do have the calling of a healer. And because they are attracted to this field, they study different modalities and powerful modalities, and they have success just playing around with their friends and their neighbors, and and they don't dare to step into their purpose and become the healer that they are. partly because many have this imposter syndrome that, oh, who am I to, if I'm not a psychologist, if I'm not a psychotherapist? And I'm the first one to say, forget that. Like, forget that. You don't need that. You need to be very solid in your connection with a source to be able to facilitate this healing. And in my opinion, this is the part where, and this is where my program comes in, and this is where they are a bit blocking themselves, just as you said, David, because um, they are fearful in acknowledging and really making the best out of our connection to source, because we all have that connection. And I said this so many times, this is what made the difference for me. And people sometimes say to me, well, you're a psychologist, well, you're a PhD, it's easy for you to say. None of that mattered. It's the moment when I realized, and I was running hypnotherapy sessions with people, and I would just get guidance to ask certain questions that they were like, "How did you know about my Christmas?" I didn't know. I just through claircognizance, I just get that I need to ask you about your Christmas. And sometimes I was looking like, where did I come with this idea? How did I create this process? Where is this coming from? And later, when through shamanism, I learned how to actually have a structured connection with spirit, if you want. Then I understood that, yeah, there's always an army of archangels and ascended masters who are, whispering in my ears, and it's my guides team and it's my client's guides team. They are always there. But as we know, they cannot intervene because we have free will. We play in a free will construct here. So they need us to ask for help. So if this is what made the difference for me, with all those papers and qualifications and fancy titles, I really encourage everyone to be open to embody, really to embody their connection to spirit and to acknowledge their spiritual identity, because we are spirit. We are not just matter. Everything has spirit. Everything is alive. So it's a no-brainer that this is where life comes, and this is where healing comes from. So in I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes maybe? This was this was my journey. And of course the journey continues, as in, because I had this unwavering faith, and because of my personal experience and of seeing the miracles, healing that I can facilitate just as a hypnotherapist at that time with my clients, because of the higher guidance that was poured through me, I dare to do what nobody does. I left a lifelong contract with the European Union, which again is a dream for anyone from not just from Romania, but for many countries in Europe. A very good job with a very good salary and position and everything. That I felt that I really outgrew that. And I knew that this is my mission and this is my person. And it was, in a way, people say, oh, you were brave, or well, some think I was crazy, but they just say you were brave. But it's so interesting because it didn't even feel like it's a big deal. It felt so natural. It felt like a no-brainer. Of course, this is what I'm going to do. Of course, this is what I'm doing. So I
You were
left.
following your bliss. That's why you were following your heart, and it made it like easy. It was probably hard doing what you were doing because you didn't feel like you were being spiritually led. You were trying to, help people, but you knew that there was more unfolding to you.
Exactly, exactly. As Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. And when you follow your bliss, invisible hands just show up to help you. And this is how it
Ooh, I
happened for
like
me.
that. I like
Yeah,
that. I've never
that's
heard
what,
that one.
yeah, it's Joseph Campbell who said, follow your bliss. And in many of his books, he writes about this. And he says, when you step onto your path, when you really live a soul-aligned life, he uses less of a spiritual jargon, but this is the meaning. The
Yeah,
universe really brings to you the people, the opportunities, the ideas to support you on your path. It's like it's the alchemist journey, yeah,
so
because
true.
you living your, I mean, we all, our purpose is to be ourselves, yeah. So by being ourselves, we are raising our frequency. We living a soul aligned life, and we together create, co-create. a heart-based reality by living from our heart. So really, everything was just laid in front of me. The place I'm renting in Spain, I was really called to come to a specific place in Spain where, and this is how actually I met David. All those synchronicities that connect one to the right people in the right time in the right moment, when we are ready and we are firmly, when we made a firm decision that yes, I commit to live my life for my soul. I commit to live my soul purpose. And
That.
I continue to have, incredible cases and incredible client healings. And then I moved into working with groups. I mean, I still work with a wide range of emotional issues. So with trauma, with complex trauma, childhood trauma, developmental trauma. But I also work a lot with, yeah, opening up to spirituality, finding your mission, finding your purpose, removing abundance blocks, because what's abundance is our capacity to create. It's our capacity to allow life to support us, to be in flow. Everything is about, yeah, being in flow. So
What's people's biggest abundance block, would you say? So you could help the viewers out here.
well, what I noticed lately is that there are two major things. So I mean, we normally think about childhood beliefs. We think about, we heard our parents having difficulties and somehow we created those beliefs that money is not available. I can't live a good life following my passions, all kinds of beliefs. But what I notice is that beyond that, there are particularly in the case of healers, I found a lot of past lives where they were healers, they were shamans, they were medicine women and men, and they were persecuted for their gifts. They were,
Makes sense.
burnt, yeah, burnt, killed, drowned, all that stuff. And then they are afraid of now putting themselves out there as healers and making money off their gifts because something terrible happened to them in those lives. Again, also past all kinds of past lives imprints where maybe they were wealthy and they didn't use their power and their money in a good way. And another thing that comes a lot lately is ancestral patterns.
Mhm.
And as we know, we might have incarnated in the same ancestral line many, many times. So we live the lives of our ancestors. And now it's even science that shows, it's epigenetics that shows how genes turn on and turn off based on the environment. And what's environment? Environment, it's the soup that we grow up in. It's the cultural parent. It's all those beliefs that are floated around in our space. So if our ancestors had money and lost it, or are persecuted for being rich, or lost everything in wars and famine, and they had to flee the country. All these experiences, all these patterns are encoded in our genes. And now this is not just spiritual talk. Again, it's epigenetics. There is like very serious research by like Dr. Rachel Yehuda or Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's so famous, that showed that those genes, those specific that govern then specific behavior, specific mechanisms, they were turned on or off, depending on what is that about, somewhere throughout our ancestral lines, and then being perpetuated and reinforced and perpetuating and reinforced with each generation.
That's
So it's
crazy.
us, the healers, the ones who came here to put a stop to this and create a better future for the next generations and for everyone around us, because we are, yeah, by us receiving activating, yeah, receiving the activation of our codes, then we spread the frequency around in our field.
I
And
read
like,
something
and
interesting. Sorry, David. I just want to ask her about this. The epigenetics that they did a study that like your good genes or your bad genes turn on, and the bulk of them, it's all determined within the 24 hours of conception, depending on if you're eating green vegetables or not and eating healthy things. I read this. So like if you're wanting to conceive, like you need to be eating healthier than you've ever eaten before because those vegetables turn on your like longevity genes and like genes like that. But I never thought of it before that like you actually could be the reincarnation of like your great 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 grandma. Is that what you're saying
Yeah,
with
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. And I've
That's
seen this.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen this in many cases because this is when I what I see in my shamanic journeys when I essentially go into trance, yeah, and then I get visions, and I've seen this happening. I've seen people being incarnated in their line. I've seen myself as the first person in my ancestral
Oh my
line.
God, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, we may believe different things about this. We may believe that past lives exist, or we may believe that it's just a metaphor, a subconscious metaphor, or we can just say that okay, it's the way our subconscious is facilitating our healing. It doesn't matter. I mean, Carl Gustav Jung, who is one of the most famous psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and yeah, well, he's the one who created depth psychology,
Mhm.
not psychotherapist. He created the deaf psychology. He was actually writing his book. He's probably now is one of his most famous book, The
He's
Red Book.
big on shadow work, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Okay, okay. Yeah, I've read him.
he created the notion of shadow, and he says if you don't master your shadow will master you
Yeah.
essentially. And Jung, who's a very respected psychiatrist and creator of a huge branch in psychology, um, he was experimenting himself with expanded states of consciousness, just as we do. He would put himself in trance using various means. He had spirit guides, Philemon and Salome, I think. And he downloaded most, I mean, everyone knows about archetypes. Yeah. It was Carl Gustav Jung who created the notion of archetypes. He created the notion of collective unconscious.
I didn't know he was connecting to guides.
Oh, God,
They
yeah.
didn't have that in the textbooks in college.
Of course not. And that's what I'm telling my people. I'm like, when you are afraid to show as who you truly are, a spiritual healer who brings both science and mysticism in your work, and that doesn't make you any less of someone who only does spiritual or only does mysticism. You share the same dilemma with Carl Gustav Jung, the most famous by now. I mean, after Freud, he's probably the second most famous. Everyone knows about him. And of course, he also didn't publish, but he was writing his journeys in what became the Red Book. The manuscripts were published many years after his death because he didn't want this to be published during his life to compromise the reputation of the famous psychiatrist. His family also was reluctant to publish until very late. I think in 2009 the book was published.
Oh wow.
And there you can see, and also he's experimented with the alchemy. So really the most core concepts that everyone is speaking about, and people maybe many don't even know that originated from Jung, like the archetypes, the collective unconscious, yeah, the
Mhm.
shadow work. They all come from him being inspired by spirit, being in direct communion with spirit, and acknowledging that. And there are many commentators of his work who say he could have been even more explicit in acknowledging that everything was basically downloaded from spirit. But yeah, he left us this amazing testimony and this amazing legacy. And if we dig deep, many of the famous, like world famous psychologists and psychotherapists and creators of modality who are held in high regard in academic circles, they had a very strong spiritual connection. That's how they downloaded the truth. That's how they downloaded the powerful methods. And of course, many didn't really wanted to speak about that,
Yeah.
um,
Because they would
which
have said
is,
they're crazy
yeah,
because it wasn't acceptable. But thank God people like you are coming out and making us that don't have like the PhD not look insane. It's like we told you, like, but
exactly.
you had to hear it from a doctor. It wasn't good enough that we were channeling it because we don't have the degree. They want to see the degree to trust.
But you have the truth because you connect to the truth,
Hmm.
and everyone who is like intuitive enough or actually just want to open their channels, they feel the truth. It's like I knew that David is true and real and solid and powerful the moment I met him online. And I mean, I could feel his energy, like this guy has a mission
Same.
here. And the same with you. When I connected with you, I mean, I feel it. I
I
feel
could
that
feel
everything you
your
put out there is
energy
true.
too.
Yeah.
Yours, the reading that I did, like yours was like definitely one of the coolest. Like I loved like doing yours and I knew how powerful you were. And I didn't even read anything about you. I didn't know that like you had a PhD in like psychology or any of that. It was just all based off your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, for sure you might have, had the because the soul chooses 360 degrees experiences. Yeah, the soul wants to experience a theme from all perspectives. So if the soul wants to experience the theme of abundance of our creation, one life you will be powerful, you'll be a king. Another life you'll be poor. Another life you'll be a slave. Another life you will have money but use it for the bad. Another life you will not have money, and the little money that you will use, you'll use it for the good, so on and so forth. So we will have the whole range of experiences, and what I'm seeing in
But
past
people
lives.
can like clear all of those other ranges and then start like coming into the higher consciousness abundance that's kind of flowing through now. And I think like that's sort of like where to start. Like a lot of people might be like, "Oh my God, how am I going to look in my past lives? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how am I supposed to clear all the." And this is exactly why you need people like Anemona and why you should be investing in yourself. I'll never forget the moment one of my friends, and I always tell the story. Well, there was this time when I was investing tens of thousands of dollars in healers and doing works to help clear me, open me up until I could do it on my own. And my friend said, "Why are you spending so much money on healing?" And I'm like, "Well, you're spending a lot of money on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and one day that's going to do really well for you. And then one day when you pass on, all of that isn't going to do anything for you. But when I pass on, all of the stuff that I'm doing on my soul work comes with me. So I'd rather invest in that outcome. I could have done the same thing as he did. I could have dumped in like 30 grand, 40 grand into Bitcoin. And today would have been worth like 600 grand. And he's done that. And congratulations. But my soul has advanced. I've healed so much and it helped me launch into this whole trajectory. So yeah, I can go into past lives and do all these different things but where you start is committing to your path. You have to commit. If you don't commit, the door stays closed. If you don't say, I want this, I'm going to do this, whether you try to like summon something within yourself or find someone who can guide you like Anamona, you're never going to get to where you need to be in your consciousness, in your soul, in your vibration, in your frequency, shedding off all of these past lives, all of these programming coming into this divine flow and joy, because the shadow will always find you. You cannot escape your shadow. And it always is so funny for me to when I hear people saying in the community that they've done their shadow work and they don't have anything else to do because it doesn't end. That just means to me that tells me that they haven't done their shadow work and they don't understand shadow work. And it's hilarious when people just say, "Oh no, I'm completely finished healing and done my shadow work," and then you see them complaining online and doing and like it's like you haven't done your shadow work. You're completely you're wounded. I can see it right on your messages. It's like some people have spent a lot of time and truly understand what shadow work is and the process. And you need to be able to go into these deep depths of your soul, of your frequency, of your past lives. And if you're just guessing, then you're not doing it. And you need to find somebody who can help you until for sure you know absolutely you're doing it. And if you know absolutely you're doing it and you feel yourself shifting and completely changing, and then yeah, well, of course, great. Good for you. But until that happens, you need help. And this is why we are all branching out. This is why Anamona is here and all these healers are talking about this and because we see it. It's the most clearest thing to see. And one of the most common things in all of my one-to-one sessions when I go to the root trauma of a past life of what is plaguing them, and it's a past life, they always tell me it's like you're describing my life right now, and it's because it hasn't been cleared.
Mhm.
Exactly, exactly. And the same pattern repeat themselves in a different form, in a different story with different characters. Because just as our being is multidimensional, our consciousness is multidimensional, healing is multidimensional, but then the shadow is also multidimensional. And that's it is individual, it's soul level, it's energy, it's past lives, it's ancestral line, it's transcendental, it's yeah, it is multidimensional. And that also means that different modalities and different healers in different moments in times resonate with a person. I mean, I'm not going to trash completely, psychotherapy. This is where I started, and it helped me to some extent 20 years ago until it didn't. And then I was looking for something else, which again helped me to some extent until it didn't. So I needed something else and something more and more really multidimensional is the word. And what I notice is that um, when you heal something in, let's say in this life, yeah, when you heal a pattern, automatically all your other lives, who we know they are not past lives for real, they are all alternative, they all happen in parallel, yet time doesn't exist, so everything is happened simultaneously. So actually, all the other lives are elevated. You have a better experience in all the other lives. So, in a way, it's what matters is what your soul feels that is the best way for you to start your healing. Maybe it's a childhood trauma, maybe it's past life trauma, because when we handle it from one corner of the carpet, it's everything is distributed across all our parallel aspects. But of course, the healer needs to also hold this frame of reference and this awareness and know how to work multidimensionally. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Hmm. I was going to say, we're all omnidimensional beings, and our energy is simultaneously our non-physical energy, and things are occurring. And there's not one person on this planet that cannot benefit from your service, because no one on this planet is fully healed. Yeshua wasn't even fully healed, because if Yeshua was fully healed, then the vibration of the planet would have went so high that we all would have turned back into light. And that's why we're still we're leaving it, but we're still kind of in this duality system. But we need to heal as much as we can so that we all can go into the higher octaves of light.
yeah. And be able to hold those higher octaves of light.
Mhm.
Like I've seen I've seen some people commenting on, oh, this activation is dangerous because look, I had all these symptoms after. And I mean, I'm sorry, I do have compassion for people because I mean, I've been there maybe 10 years ago and I didn't really understand how everything works and I wanted the big things and then the big things landed on an unhealed body full of
Yeah.
pockets of trauma and shadow, and then it bounces off, but before it bounces, because it cannot sink in if you don't have enough light, you don't have enough space in your cells, which is
No.
only after healing trauma, to actually hold more light. So what's going to do? It's going to do a little bit of a chaos in your system
Mhm.
if you didn't do the groundwork. So and actually sometimes this happen with very powerful, very deep healing. People have after a massive deep trauma healing, people can have all kinds of
There's
symptoms as
symptoms, people, there's sometimes a little, you could even feel a little depression, a little anxiety,
yeah,
think because you're
yeah,
letting go of very difficult trauma, right? And so it's
absolutely.
not that you're depressed, it's that in that energy, in that timeline of in that past life or in that example in this life, there was a lot of depression and anxiety in the memory. And the memory is in the frequency and it's stored in frequency within you in these portals. And when you release it and it comes out of you, you're sort of getting like a slight reflection of that energy that you're letting go of, and somewhere subconsciously it's like, oh, I feel a little depressed or whatever. That's why it's really good to like be out in nature after like a big release, boost yourself up, do. But
Yeah,
the it's good that you talk about that. And just to nail that point home quickly, when I first learned about how to heal the shadow in a large amount, and I went into all of my past life relationships to clear out physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. Just those three things, because they're the really big three things in every relationship. And I was seeing myself sometimes as a woman, a man, all the arguments, all the reflections, healing one by one in about an hour and a half. I went through like 1,000 of these lifetimes and these trauma points. And then I opened my eyes, and this black cloud of foggy like energy had left my root chakra. Like all of that was stored in my root chakra because of the relationships. The angels were coming in and swooshing them, all of these energies away. And my whole belief systems changed about relationships on that day and the divine feminine. And I had such a greater love and compassion for it. But then my frequency just went like skyrocket, like beyond like a rocket. And I was just pulsing and vibrating, and this golden light was coming in and this love frequency and everything like that. So when Anemona is talking about you have to make room for the light, is she's 100% right. You have to let go of the old energies that are like these black clouds, basically,
Yeah.
these like really difficult things and trauma that we've been through, so that golden light can come in, so we can receive these higher love frequencies. That's really how you raise your frequency the quickest for sure, but that is more permanent because even if you do activations and all you do is activations, let's just say, from the even from me, even if you just from and from Anemona and the highest healers out there, if you just did activations, it's never going to be good enough because you're still going to have that junk energy that you got to get rid
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, and some things just bounce off because they're not compatible to where you are. And what I wanted to add is that uh, it's interesting after you go through a powerful healing. If you go to the toilet, you will notice that your urine smells differently. You will notice that your sweat smells differently, like something is different about how you feel your body. And again, research like Dr. Greg Braden was showing that it's the neuropeptides that were associated with all those trapped emotions, all those fears, all those, because limiting beliefs are translated at the level of the body in lower frequency emotions. I mean, you have done the questionnaire on the levels of consciousness, and yeah, following David Hawkins' book, so he talks about the different frequencies of emotions. Well, they translate in the body in biochemistry. So chemicals are actually released. So there is the spiritual level of it, and then there is the actual biochemical level of it, where those toxins, they are not just spiritual toxins, not just psychological toxins, they are actual biological toxins that are released from your body. So when I see people putting, science against mysticism, this is such an old and narrow perspective. And I'm so grateful for these new great thinkers like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and so many now that show actually that what if you want the teachings of the ancient mystery schools that we are now discovering, like the two of you channel a lot of those teachings which were practiced in ancient Egypt and Phoenicia and Babylonia, and going back to, yeah, Atlantis and Lemuria and back to the Venusians. And so all those teachings that you are now channeling through your own way of revitalizing and bringing it back, and they are all in, we know they are like on the walls of the pyramids and sacred teachings that many were burnt, many were hidden for good reasons. And now the new science, the emergent science of enlightened people, like also like Dr. David Hawkins, they actually show with scientific methods, with what we accept now as scientific methods, that those teachings were true and right and useful, and really they bring a new level of consciousness into the new science. So, and you are empirically doing all this, you are demonstrating it, you are living it, you are embodying it, and the new science is slowly catching up with all those brave pioneers who who have the courage to say, yes, this is science and this is true. These are the laws of the universe. This is how it works.
Thank God they're doing that for everyone because there's so many non-believers because it wasn't scientifically backed, but they help everybody on this planet to go to a higher level because there's so many people that didn't believe because it didn't come from the mouth of like a doctor. And now it's just so good that people are coming out of their shell like you were talking about, and people just need to tell their full method, tell about the spirit because that helps someone else, another doctor that, is scared to come out because they think they're crazy. But if we all just tell what's really like going on inside of us, and we don't do that enough. Everybody's like so closed off, and that's why like you started saying something about, you know people can't hold that state of consciousness like when they get the activation because they haven't cleared the space. But that is creating sacred space every day. It's not something you do once a month. It's something that has to be done every day, just like the toxins that are detoxing out of the body that you said when you get rid of that spiritual trauma. You shouldn't be feeding yourself with negativity because you're never going to hold the state if you do the healings and then you keep putting more junk in your body, whether it's being around negative people or eating horrible food. You're never going to be able to maintain the higher consciousness states.
Yeah. I thought it's very interesting what you said earlier about the study that you read on epigenetics about the
Yeah, you
trans.
have to look into it.
I absolutely I haven't heard about it, but if I think about it, of course makes sense because it's high frequency foods. Yeah, they again they contain light. So that's what's going to be compatible with the embryo developing, yeah, with the fetus developing.
Yeah.
It
But
makes
but
it
but
makes
also
sense.
with somebody developing just their own consciousness as well, you can look at it as like birthing through yourself, or birthing a child into the world. Both is an evolution of self in
Yeah.
a way, right? Like so the child is from yourself and your genetics pass on to them. And so that's one of the most beautiful thing. Even if you have children right now and you do this work, when you heal it within yourself, it flows through to heal in their genetics because it's genetically encoded. And these things, this is why I absolutely love this podcast like so much because
Me
it's
too.
it's really tying in like the science and the consciousness but I definitely want before we get into the rapid fire, get into which is all these funny questions we ask. The the courses that you offer, if you do one-on-one healing sessions, how you help people um, with all of your scientific background, but with all of your consciousness background, what you are offering, best ways for people to reach out to you, and that kind of thing.
Um, we will have the links below, right, on how people can find me. As I said, I work with a wide range of emotional, psychological, and also psychosomatic because the body is just a mirror of what's happened with us emotionally. So I'm working with cancer, I'm working with autoimmune diseases to support the healing process, and I'm working, of course, with depression, anxiety, phobias, and then I'm working towards yet the development, the enhancement end of the spectrum, if you want, with yeah, I mentioned abundance, stepping into your purpose, finding a compatible relationship. Like as you mentioned earlier, uh, people are looking for love, but then we have to heal our patterns, and our patterns might be patterns of abuse, of being abused, or of being abusive as a result of having been abused. And again, can be this life, can be past life. So I work with a wide range of issues, and I am very respectful and mindful of the client frame of reference. So if the client is open to spirituality, definitely I would use shamanic healing tools because it's going into trance and resolving and healing with spirit guidance. Really multidimensionally. And people are always amazed when I do shamanic journeys for them, or when I teach them how to journey and they journey themselves and they have all these visions and they are, wow, I thought I can't do it. No, everyone can do it. Everyone can learn to connect to the source of healing, just as the shamans knew to do 100,000 years ago. And I'm not a shaman. I'm a shamanic practitioner and counselor, and I really respect the teachings of the original shamans. But this is a westernized version, if you want. And it's essentially connecting just the way you connect, but to you, it was like you intuitively by yourself discovered how to connect. In my case, well, it was also a part of that, but then I also learned this method that is called core shamanism, developed by anthropologist Dr. Michael Harner, again, a scientist who saw the value in the ancient wisdom and the practices of the shamans. So I may use clinical hypnotherapy, which is really putting people in hypnosis and taking them back to the root cause and seeing childhood scenes that were traumatic and where something really happened for them that changed the way they interact and their belief systems. Or I may use shamanic work and also a mix of methods in my individual work. I'm also about to, so besides the Step into Your Purpose program, I'm also running a program that is called Intervision, which is a form of peer mentoring, if you want, for healers and therapists of all kinds. We all need support. We all need to, hold hands and have someone to help us. And I'm going to create soon a membership because I realize that people need support for a longer period of time. So my new program is a membership. It will be called Connect to the Healer Within. And it's again using a mix of methods, hypnosis, shamanic journeying, so transpersonal healing, and also just classic talk therapy coaching, really to reinforce and to bring, because we work with all levels of the mind. I work with the conscious mind as well. I work with the subconscious. I work with the higher self. I work with all levels. Yeah, subconscious, unconscious, higher self or soul, and with the guide teams, with the high consciousness beings that are part of our teams. So connect to the healer within will really bring mix of methods working with groups where I will teach people how to journey, I will teach people how to connect, I will teach people how to self heal, essentially, how to find the codes to their self-healing DNA. This is one of the latest thing that I downloaded. I don't have a better word. I can't claim I created it. It was downloaded to me. I received a technique with a self-healing DNA pyramid that leads to activation of the self-healing DNA, which we all have, but it's dormant. And we've been told that we have junk DNA by science. No, that's not junk. That's dormant DNA that can be activated if we heal. So this was the latest technique that I received from Spirit, which I didn't know I can apply to anything. I thought this is going to be only for psychosomatic, for cancer, for autoimmune, for allergies, for all kinds of physical issues. No, no, no. It works for anything, for abundance, for depression, for anything. So I know it sounds very weird for a psychologist to use words like download and spirit, but this is my reality and this is what I believe in. And this is the reality of so many clients that I've been helping over this past years. And we are all experiencing magic and we are all in awe. And you can't even hang on to an ego of saying, oh, I'm this amazing healer, when you realize that you are a conduit of this healing. So our job is keep my mind clean, as you were saying. Don't consume news, don't consume anything unnecessary of a lower frequency. So keep my mind clean, keep my body clean, keep my energy clean. I go to healers, I go to David, yeah, so we all go to different healers because we all, us healers, because we also need to keep that in check, keep the shadow in check. I have a therapist, a traditional therapist. She's also integrative and transpersonal, so she has a spiritual framework. But I go regularly to my therapist to check my own shadow. Where am I? Yeah, where are my blind spots and corners that need to be? So yeah, that's the that's the life of a healer.
And that's
And
exactly the kind of healer you want to find, somebody who's continually investing, like, and spending the time in themselves, not saying that, that I've completed my shadow work and that and that they care about their frequency because when you, no matter who you're speaking with, your frequencies are going to combine. And if somebody has a really high frequency and they're caring about their frequency, that beautiful energy is going to come to you. And so Anamona, she's just incredible, obviously beyond highly skilled trained. And I'll put a link like in the video and in the description as well. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or any of the other audio platforms that we are on, check the description out. Definitely, you want to reach out to Anamona. She's just incredible, an amazing role model for the scientific and spiritual community, and she can help you in the most profound ways. And so, step it into your purpose, find her, and she will help you um, just come into this most magnificent version of yourself. And we are getting into the rapid fire questions. And the rapid fire segment is we just ask a whole bunch of questions and you just try to answer them as fast and honestly or as silly as you want. Brand, you got some you want to start?
Yeah, I do. Sure. And thank you for taking us higher there. I felt like we were all going higher and higher together. And going into new dimensions. So like I can feel like how powerful you are. And I might have to come see you just so we can have fun and we can, open more stuff up.
You guys are amazing. I mean, I think if the three of us would do something together too, I'm getting like the goosebumps. It's gonna
We
be
should.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
it works multidimensionally. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But thank you. So we'll start. If your inner child threw a temper tantrum today, what would it be mad about?
Would be mad about not playing with the dog enough.
You love that dog.
Oh
That
my
dog,
God.
that dog's your baby. You love it like I love my dog. I can tell.
It's,
They're the
it's,
best.
he is my soulmate. I manifested my perfect dog. So yeah.
I did too. That's so cool. Um, what is the most spiritually bypassed thing that you have done to avoid dealing with a real problem? That's a hard one.
The most spiritually bypassing thing that I've done to avoid dealing with it. Oh, pulling cards. Pulling cards.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what the cards say. No, I don't like this answer. No, 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 no. Shuffle again. What do
Yeah.
what do I need to do? No, 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 no. I don't like this answer. No, another. Let me sage the cards. Let me sage the cards. Another. Nah. Yeah.
But hey, that's how advanced you are. You refuse to listen to a negative outcome. So you're like, I'm gonna keep pulling till I get that positive income so you can outcome so that you can stay in the higher vibrational energy. So I think you did
I
a good
I
job
I
there.
love how you look at it. Yeah.
That's how
I
I look
use
at
that
it.
excuse. I
I
use
will
that
not
excuse.
I will not allow even cards or people to plant bad seeds into me. If someone says something negative, I don't believe them at all. I say that's not God. That isn't source. If it's negative, bye. Do not believe. What is a toxic trait you are weirdly proud of?
Being a control freak.
Hmm.
Perfectionist control freak. I was so proud and I thought it's standards of excellence until I realized, God, no, I was just a Cruella manager with my people just because I wanted everyone to work like a manic like I was. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, if your anxiety had a theme song, what would it be?
Tell me sweet little
Love
lies.
Fleetwood Mac.
Tell me lies. Yeah. Anxiety, it's a lie. Worry is a lie, but it's a very convincing one. So we fall into it.
Yep. Yeah, that's where modalities come in. I'm sure you have modalities that can help people to, catch the brain lying to you when it's negative and then redirecting and repatterning it.
Exactly. And not blame themselves for doing it, because that's the trap, like we get to blame, oh my God, I've done that again. I should know better. No, just be gentle with yourself. That's where you're at today.
Yep, I hear you on that one. I always tell people, like, I used to be so hard on myself. Now I'm the easiest person on myself, and I take care of myself and love myself and put myself first because that's the way that you overflow to everybody else and you can be the highest version of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Um, do you hypnotize people in daily life for fun so that you can plant suggestive seeds on things you want them to do?
Well, I wish I'd say yes. I mean, the thing that people always tell me, like, I'm going on a date and someone's like, "Oh, and are you reading my mind?" And I'm like, "No, baby, because I'm really expensive. I'm not going to do it for free. You'll have to pay me to do that. So, not outside working hours."
See, that's smart. That is very smart. Um, this is the last one. If your third eye was a screensaver, what would it look like?
Oh, it would look like a pyramid that has my dog in it because he's like an extension on me. He has such a good perception of people. He feels people. He senses energies. He's, when he doesn't like something or someone, I know I need to follow his lead. So it's gonna be a pyramid with my Joy.
Aw,
Joy is the name of my dog in
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Aw, that's so
I love
cute.
your dog.
I know. He's my therapist, and he's a Syrian. He's a Syrian consciousness master. He's here to teach me love, and I'm here to teach him courage. That I also learned in the
Aw,
shamanic journey. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we are a team.
so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, the I feel like a lot of the pets that are around the star seeds are like these masters and stuff. I first noticed it when I got my dog and I saw all these like blue master lights around him when I would take or around her when I would take her for a walk. And the first time I saw it, I'm just like, there's masters around. I'm like, okay. And then I saw it the second time. Then I saw it about the seventh time, then I knew for sure it was her soul, like just kind of shining through and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you little master. And
Yeah,
it's really cool that
yeah.
these animals are coming in to and then she jumped into some healing sessions that I had too, and just bringing in the dog love, unconditional love frequency, but not really the dog. There's a master soul in this dog.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, mine as well. And I'm telling people, I don't mind if you have your pets around you when we work because they are part of the energy field. They are enhancers. They are healers themselves. My dog shows up in my shamanic journeys as well, and with, I'm even feel weird to call him my dog because he's my soulmate. He's part of my team. He's my therapist as well. Like
Mhm.
sometimes sometimes you can get exhausted between sessions, even though like we get a lot of elation and of excitement and of high frequency when we work, because we channel that high frequency energy. But sometimes there are more difficult sessions, and I'm in between sessions, I just go and hug him, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, give me a shot of love and warmth,
They
and
do.
I feel this.
They take the negativity and they raise the vibration because they vibrate so high. I say mine are rainbow dragons, and mine actually healed my OCD when I got my first one because I had my kids and it triggered OCD. I was so crazy about germs. And then when I got the dog, like you can't control anything because they're going outside, going to the bathroom, walking around on the dirt and coming in. And it caused me to let go of everything. And I swear it was her energy nugget.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was really him making me be in the moment. Like I couldn't just go off and dissociate and go on any mentism or any anxiety spiral or anything because he forces you to be very present. And that's healing in itself. We know that by now.
So stay tuned for the next podcast with
Yeah,
Anemona down the road when we're talking about animals and healing, because this could be a whole nother hour.
it could. This would be so much fun.
I got some questions though. What's the weirdest place you've ever received a download?
On the toilet.
Ah, was it a wash? No, just kidding. That's just bad. All right. Lumerians walk into your therapy office. What is the first thing that you offer them or say to them?
Hello, family. Happy to see you again. They are my family, so yeah. Here is a shot of light. How do you want it? Do you want it purple? Do you want it blue?
Yeah. I love that. And then they're going to sign up for your course. What's more stressful, police psychology or trying to ground Andromedan energy during a retrograde?
For sure, the second, for God's sake. Andromedans are another one of my family. Oh my God, they are cheeky. Yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
police work doesn't compare with the Andromedan energy. My God, no. Yeah.
would you rather time travel with Carl Jung to Atlantis or Mary Magdalene to, let's just say, early Egypt?
You know, the thing is, in many shamanic journeys, I'm taken to Egypt, to the pyramids, and my guides, and Isis and Hathor and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, they show up there for healing ceremonies. So that is done already. So I'm going to go with Jung in Atlantis for sure. That's,
Oh, that'd be neat. Hey, cool.
yeah,
You meet your higher self in the astral, and they're wearing Crocs. What do you say?
they're wearing Crocs. What's that? I'm not a native speaker, you know.
Uh, do you have
I'll
any?
I'll grab one.
It's just like a shoe with like holes and it's like a kind of like a sandal thing. Yeah. It's like
Ooh,
a,
ooh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I know what I'm going to tell them. You know, in Romanian, there is a saying, the shoe of the shoemaker is always a disaster. So I'm going to tell my herself, yeah, you are truly a healer because your shoe looks disastrous. So yeah, that's like a business card. Yeah.
And then my final questions, if the Palladians had a dating app, what would it be called?
Um, baby, I'm home.
Nice. Yeah, it's a fun thing that they can do through like the soul registries and everything. And if you're not like let's say with like a prime soulmate or whatever, and you're just looking for unions, you can they have these registries for soul registries, finding like aligned within your oversoul group, basically like close to your soul frequency and everything, and instant match. You don't even have to match. It's just the highest two, closest two, available two, and so you always get love, and it's always the right person. Wouldn't that be a lot easier for the dating world? You don't even have to talk. It's an instant match. There you go.
Listen, Dave, you have to download that app because you are the master of the apps. If you manage the Divine Ray, you have to download the Palladian matching
Oh
app.
my goodness.
Your next app for spiritual people. Imagine.
You're gonna have to give me some time on that. Once I meet with the Palladians, I'll talk to them. Like, okay, I'll be your app ambassador for Earth. Why not?
Your next project.
You probably
Yeah.
just have to call them in. Call them in to be your matchmaker. See, you just brought that online.
Love is in the air.
Yeah,
Love is in the
be
air.
specific.
Well, this was a wonderful podcast. Thank you so much, Anemona, for coming on. Everybody, Dr. Anemona Perez, find her. She is going to help out. We'll leave her info in the descriptions. And any final words before we go, Anemona?
Thank you so much for the invitation, guys. You are absolutely amazing. I have all your books, the 3 books. I have them here. And I recommend it to everyone in my community because I mean, even just reading, even mindlessly, you can feel the high frequency of it. It's like the words are vibrating. It's alive. It's alive what you put out there. So thank you so much for your service to humanity. And I'm so grateful that we met in the most unexpected circumstances. But that's like the Palladian matching app, you see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
works.
They're already working on us, and we have matched as Deep Soul Family and coming together. Such an honor. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Fran, the
Thank
tagline.
you. I'm going Omni.
All right. We'll see you all later and stay golden. Until next time.
Everything golden. Finding your greatest love, your highest adventures, the joy that brings you into the paradise life that you've always wanted to be living. It all starts with you and going deep inside. Featuring Francesca Rose and David Starr, where miracles come true every episode.